Thank you, CLFMA. Thank you all of you for attending this second session. It's always wonderful to come and attend CLFMA's National Symposium. I think most of you wait for this day every year. As all of you know, India is 1, 2, 3, 4. First in milk production, second in freshwater aquaculture, third in eggs, and fourth in broiler chicken production. We have 3 young entrepreneurs who will be talking about how they are using technologies to improve the efficiency of livestock management. And they will also talk about how they are doing retailing, how they have branded commodities into a high quality brands. So let me invite Naren first and give you a presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here and share our story. Just going to take a minute or so, play you a small video that will actually cover a lot of ground, and then I'll take you into what kind of technology that we are using to run our operations. The topic that was given to me was to talk about how pervasive technology can be in a retail operations. So I'm going to take you through the technology stack at Nandu's. So it will give you an idea how deep tech runs in any poultry, or meat retail operations. So here is a small introduction.
India loves its meat, and we know it. We've been transforming the way people consume safe and healthy meat since the 60s. And we are on the path to becoming India's most loved and trusted meat brand. We are Nandu's. Today,
so having said that, a little bit of there you go. History from where we come. I mean, like most of you know us, we are a poultry company started by my father about 60 years ago. The whole purpose of starting Nandu's was to get a better realization for ourselves. We were forced into doing something and reach the end consumer. It's been a 7-year journey, and then this video will just take you through our beginnings. At Nandu's, we are farmers delighting our consumers with fresh and healthy produce.
Our journey started in 1963 in Bangalore with a vision to revolutionize poultry and livestock farming in India. Today we have redefined poultry and livestock farming by adopting world-class process and technology, helping us to deliver on our food safety promise. Our guarantee of safe and healthy meat is possible because we control the entire supply chain right from farming to retailing of meat and meat products fit for human consumption.
Our commitment to fresh and healthy meat with 100% traceability has delighted over 6 lakh consumers. Our mission is to deliver safe and healthy meats to every Indian household, directly from our farms to their homes. So that's what we are. We are today India's largest hyper-local omni-channel meat retail company. We operate 55 company-owned and company-operated meat retail stores. Our focus is not just retailing chicken, but also mutton and fish. We also do close to about 35 different value-added products, ranging from breaded products like your nuggets and popcorn and chicken strips, running into a lot of regional cuisines, which are heat and eat kind of products like chicken 65 or curry leaf pepper chicken. So that is to address the value-added segment. We also work with a lot of QSR brands. Today, all of the cloud kitchens run on frozen products, which they finish in their retail outlets. So we work with a lot of these brands being their back end, close to about 100 tons is what we supply to them on a monthly basis. So having said that, I'll take you through the technology stack that we use. So we are currently running on what we call as Industry 4.0 tech, right? Why we call it Industry 4.0? Because we have technology that actually spans multiple divisions of the organization. Whether it is industrial IoT, we use cameras in our retail outlets which are actually image processing, and we get about 8 different parameters to analyze consumer behavior. How many people walked into the store, walked out without buying? What time did the staff come in? Was there any pilferage in the night? How is the cash counter operating? So we measure a lot of these parameters. Then we use a lot of business analytic tools like Power BI and so on and so forth to enable our retail team to take real-time decisions. We are able to see our business's status in terms of revenue, profitability and gross margins within a lag of 2 hours. And we have another system that can give you real-time access to our financial performance. That is real-time, right? And then we are also looking, we are working with a couple of AI startups and building models to check the quality of the incoming fish especially. We are working with olfactory sensors, image processing to ensure that we add another layer beyond just human inspection. And of course, there's industrial apps that we use for ensuring that the SOPs at our outlets are followed. The area managers are intimated if anything is missed. So a lot of these things, we have built the entire tech stack to address all of these things. So at the core, we have our own ERP that we have been using for the last 7 years. It is custom developed. The whole point of an ERP is to capture everything from production to sales. This year, we are switching over to Microsoft Dynamics, and that's actually a big step for us. So we also built our own point of sale system. There are a lot of point of sale systems available in the market, but could not meet our specifications and requirements. So we built our own point of sale system and integrated that with ERP. We have our own e-commerce system, which is the mobile app and the website. That's all integrated together with the POS and the ERP, so data is seamlessly flowing through. All of this core level technology enables us to build business applications on top of it. So the data that's in the ERP, which is populated by the sales data coming from the POS, it's all happening in real time, and then we built a data architecture. We have built a massive cloud data infrastructure where we host all our operational data, sales data, etc. And it took us about a month to put the architecture in place. So the data populates the architecture, and because of that architecture, Power BI is able to extract and slice and dice the data in almost real time, because the database, our data gets populated every 2 hours. Then we have our CRM solutions that help us in remarketing. On a monthly basis, close to about 1.5 crore of our revenue. We do about between 11.5 to 12 crores a month in revenue. But about 1.5 crore of that revenue actually comes from remarketing, and that happens from our CRM system. And of course, that also includes communication to the end consumer through WhatsApps, emailers, SMSs, etc. And how does all of this help, right? It enhances customer experience. It increases business revenue. That's all it is. Tech is all pervasive. It is critical, and a complex business like ours cannot run without tech. So in fact, I keep saying that Nandu's is a couple of companies inside itself. So we have a slaughterhouse. We slaughter about 12,000 birds per day, and that in itself is a business. Then we have a food processing division where we are manufacturing about 100 tons of value-added products. That itself is another company altogether. How do you manage and operate these companies? Without tech, not possible, right? And of course, on the retail side of things, we have 7 sales channels. We have the walk-in, then the local Horeca, the FMCG Horeca, then we have white labeling. So, every channel has a different need and tech helps us be actually efficient in operating all these channels. A little deeper architecture of our tech stack. I've spoken about all of these things. Then the one of the projects that we are very proud of, and we have built IP around that, is our indenting and sales forecasting engine. This is something which we co-developed with Amazon. In fact, actually, they sponsored the entire project because from the food space, we were one of the early startups to actually use AI and machine learning. Today, the whole purpose of that was to take indenting, get the guesswork out of indenting. What happens if you indent more, you have wastage. If you indent less, you have sales loss. It's a very finely, you have to balance that equation very finely. So we wanted to take out or assist the human judgment, and we built these models to learn from the data that we have. So one of the things that we did early on is to have this data infrastructure and capture all of these data. So we do about 1.5 million bills per year. And we have data on every single customer, every single transaction. Extremely valuable. So we fed this data onto the model. Then we put in a lot of other parameters on which the model will work. Because India is very dynamic, right? There's religious festivals, there is Shravan, then there is some Amavasya, 13 no-meat days. So, the model, we trained this model to consider all of these and then give us predictions on what should be the indent for tomorrow. What is the sales forecasted for this Monday or for this Tuesday. So, the model is in training. We deployed this about 5 months ago. The model is able to predict upwards of 90+% in accuracy of what a human is predicting. So it takes that guesswork out. We are very proud of this. Amazon's going to feature this in one of their SME events in Las Vegas this year. Then, like I mentioned, we do a lot of video analytics. Gives us a lot of insights, and we are able to kind of take very quick, actions to address some of these concerns about loss of sale. How many women are coming in, how many people are walking out without a purchase, how many bills are raised, is there anybody doing selling without a bill. So that level of control this tech is giving us. And of course, we have another app that ensures that SOPs are maintained, store operating SOPs. Did they come in the morning? What time did they open the store? Right? Notorious to manage retail staff. Insanely crazy, but this system enables us to act in real time. So that's pretty much what I had to say about the tech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naren. We'll take questions at the end of all three presentations. So now may I request Nikhil to talk about how Chitrai Dairy is using emerging technologies. I'm associated with Chitrai Dairy since 97, and new generation in Maharashtra also prefers Chitrai products. So they have done something different from other brands in Maharashtra to keep brand alive.
Namaste. Thank you CLFMA for this opportunity and Bhavi Sahib. I am Nikhil Chitrai. I represent the Chitrai group. Mine is the 4th generation in the business, and we just completed 85 years this year in the business. My great-grandfather started this business back in 1939 in a very small village in Sangli district, close to Kolhapur. It's based on banks of Krishna river, and we had a railway station very close by. So 2 things that dairy industry needs. One is water. So we had water ample available, and we had mode of transportation was railway. So in 39, 40s, the ice used to come from Pune. My great-grandfather and my grandfather used to chill the milk, the pasteurized milk. It wasn't automated, and then they used to send it back to Pune, and that's how the journey started. Currently, we handle close to 1 million liters a day, and we have 2 sister companies as well. Uh, just So we have two sister companies. One is called Chitale Foods, where we do instant mixes. The plant is currently handling around 40 tons of ready-to-cook instant mixes. That was a value addition for our dairy business. We make milk powder, so we wanted to add some value to it. So we started doing gulab jamun mix. And we are present in 4 different continents as well: Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, as well as in the US. And 65% of our milk is sold as milk, and that gives us a better turnaround. It's better churning as well. And after that, the 35% is converted into milk products such as ghee, Shrikhand. Shrikhand is one of our flagship products. Then dahi, paneer, and other products like commodity products, powder and butter. We only convert milk into powder and butter when we have a surplus of milk. And we also do khoya, khawa, and we have our sister concern in Pune called Chitale Bandhu Mithai Wale, and all the raw material is supplied to them at the dairy end. I have a 3-minute video about what we do when it comes to genetics and what we do when it comes to animal husbandry. Let's play that. So rising cost of milk is a big issue in India, and at both ends, at the farmer end as well as the consumer end. And mostly it's because of low yielding cattle, not proper feed available to the cattle, and transportation costs. So all these 3 costs are increasing every year. So we are trying to find the right balance. So first is find the right genetics. And we were able to collaborate with a company called ABS Genus. ABS is American Breeding Services, and Genus is a British company. So they are one of the largest genetics provider in the world. So we have a 120 bull stud farm in Bilavdi. We produce semen straws, and we produce around 5 million semen straws a year, and out of which 1 million are sex sorted semen straws, and they are distributed across the country now. Punjab and Haryana we have our biggest customers there, and I'm very proud to say that Tripura Sarkar and Jammu and Kashmir as well this year has purchased 1.5 lakh semen straws from us. So where farming is not possible, animal husbandry becomes the primary source of income, and we have observed that in Jammu Kashmir as well as in Tripura. So there is a video, if you could play it.
India is home to about 57% of the world's buffalo and 16% of the world's cattle population.
Thank you. So on the procurement side, what we have been doing is we run a program called Cows to Cloud. It's in collaboration with the Dell Corporation as well as with VMware, where we have tagged 10,000 animals in our region, and we track and monitor their health data as well as their feeding data. We have about 140 livestock supervisors who are on the field with scanners, and they feed the data to the system, and we can actually provide farmers with live information about their cattle, about the feeding patterns, about the disease management. Recently, when we experienced lumpy, we were able to vaccinate all our cattle in the district as well as the nearby districts with the help of data. And I think that has helped us tremendously to improve the milk production as well as the yield per cattle. And our next phase will be to tag around 50,000 animals across the district and Sangli and Kolhapur both. And we are also exploring. So there are these ultrasound techniques to improve mastitis and tissue regeneration. It's a company based out of Israel. We have been collaborating with them. So we try to use as much data as possible to be able to get better information about the cattle. And I think like the sugar industry, India needs to collaborate with farmers to be able to produce as much maize as possible, because that's the only way we think to improve productivity when it comes to cattle. And that's about it from my end. I mean, we can do retailing questions after the next presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikhil. He will talk about retailing later. May I invite Bala now to talk about tasty prawns. I hope we have prawns in lunch today. Otherwise, next time you bring it.
Next time, certainly, yes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My special namaskaram to our beloved Secretary, Tarunji. And thank you, Dr. Mikija, for inviting me here. Thank you, CLFMA, for the opportunity. I am Bala Subramaniam. I am the General Secretary for the Prawn Farmers Federation of India. I am not an entrepreneur like these renowned guys here, so I will give you an overall view of what's happening in the shrimp industry. We are the youngest industry among all of us in this poultry and dairy and all that. So we're just about 40 years of age of scientific farming, and I have personally been doing about 30 years of scientific farming. India covers about 140,000 hectares of land in about 9 maritime states, starting from Gujarat all the way to West Bengal. And we are the second largest producer of shrimp and exporter in the world. We've been recently overtaken, past 2-3 years. Until COVID, we were top producers. Recently, Ecuador, a small country in South America, has taken over us because of purely genetics. I mean, Nikhil spoke nicely about genetics. Poultry, you all know what wonderful stuff genetics has done for you all. So yeah, we are the traditional supplier. I use traditionally USA supplier because we've been doing it for very many years that we become the traditional suppliers of shrimps to the US. We hold a fantastic market share there. We meaning, India I'm talking about. Shrimp in India is produced largely from Andhra Pradesh. About 70% of what happens there. And still, like in all other sector, we are a very highly fragmented sector. Majority are small and marginal and medium farmers. So a lot of consolidation is likely to happen in the next decade. So yeah, technology employed wise, again the largest technology in any other animal husbandry, genetics is playing a very strong role, and thanks to again Mr. Tarun for having introduced. We've had several fights before the introduction, but he's been instrumental for bringing in the correct stock for the country. At that time it was very essential. So that is, from there we have improved a lot. We've introduced something called SPF animals, exotic animal of course, but specific pathogen free, because India was struggling a lot with pathogens in the system. Aquatic animals, very difficult to treat them, particularly viral diseases and microsporin diseases, very difficult to get rid of them in intracellular. So we had to have pathogen free animals, and that's in 2009 government have introduced that, and then from 65,000 tons we have hit 1 million ton a few years back, and we've been sort of stable since then. Other things what we are doing in terms of the same breeding programs itself, we have sentinel trials. The government, farmers work with breeding companies, which again are all sitting out of the country. They work with them to bring in new breeding lines to check families, to check what's happening, what is the most important viable thing for the country. And genetic improvement species for domestic species also, Government of India has invested in an organization called SIBA. They are doing some work on, a lot more work needs to be done. It's already too late. Hatcheries, we are using a lot of technology, sensors like what Naren mentioned. You all know how good technology can help in monitoring the operation. So I'll just skip that part. But frankly, all of this is not mainstream. I mean, I'm being honest here. So this is, majority farmers are still low-tech, normal, like how any other farming system happens. Right now, the shrimp industry itself is not going through a very happy phase. It's not because of lack of production. Actually, it's a lack of the problem is overproduction India-wise and globally. The market is shrinking because there is a lot of issues with inflation and stuff in Europe and consuming countries, majoritarily USA. So yes, farmers and the industry is in a survival mode. Everybody I've been meeting since yesterday has been saying the same thing. Aqua not happening here, aqua not happening. Production happening, but money is not happening. That's what they mean. Farmers are going back to the basics. So somehow we have to survive, right? We can't give up our farms, particularly in the coastal areas. Once you give it up, it's all gone. So they are going in for lower densities, pushing. One good thing about shrimp is the larger the size, the better the price. So farmers are going in for it, cutting down volumes, increasing the sizes, so they will somehow survive this difficult times, hoping for a better tomorrow. And we are also focusing on better quality seeds for because it's a fundamental input, of course. And quickly coming to the hurdles in the shrimp farming progress, this is the high feed cost. Everybody's been talking about feed yesterday. And the low success rates in the farming, because still, despite of SPF is only, pathogen free is only when you buy the seeds. After that, the environment gives you a lot of difficulties, so pathogen enters, and that is another issue which we face in the shrimp sector. High operational cost, because funding for the sector is still like any other farming, very difficult for us to find funding. It's all private fundings at very high costs. Low fund availability for even new technology adoption, for creating new infrastructure and stuff. Inconsistencies in seed genetics, inconsistencies is a very big issue, which it's not still standardized like in poultry. We have many companies, but still there are a lot of inconsistencies. This evolving process, I suppose. And last but not the least, the domestic market we don't have. See, when there is a huge shock happening, when any export happening, you have to have a domestic market which will absorb when there is excess production, at least smaller sizes, it will absorb in the domestic market. But sadly, in our industry, we don't have it because of the premium pricing and lack of supply chain, I suppose. In retailing, what are the technology applied? You can just go back to Naren's slide. Just like Naren, there are many other people doing very similar. I was happy to see in one of his slides some shrimp also. It looks like you're introducing some shrimp also. So you could just say very similar we have, but we need hundreds and thousands of Narens, and we have Manoj's, and we have another entrepreneur in our thing, Manoj. We need hundreds of them to absorb this 1 million ton of production that we are doing in the country. Right now it's about 50,000 to 100,000 tons is what we are consuming locally. Still, 70%, 97% of Indian shrimps, I mean the Indian fish and shrimp is sold in the wet markets, and you all have experiences dealing with wet markets. It's very difficult to go and buy it from there. So yes, we have to have a disruption to waiting to happen, so that somehow we'll penetrate into the domestic market, which is huge and untapped. Because shrimp everybody loves, right? Everybody wants to eat shrimp. Even Bosley wants to eat shrimp this afternoon. So it is an aspirational project. Everybody loves it. So what are we doing about it? So that is our plan. We thought the Farmers Federation should get together and start pushing shrimp into the domestic market. How do we plan to do it is, like I said, entrepreneurs are good. They are all retailers, organized retailers, but 100,000, we have 10 lakh tons. So we need to push at least 200, 300,000 tons into the country. Means you need a substantial market to be created, and that will happen only through a mechanism where the consumers are assured consistent quality, consistent pricing, and consistent availability. So these three things has to happen, and that's what we are hoping to do this. And why are the farmers doing it is a question I already answered. We need to support the Indian farmers to stabilize the prices. We strongly feel once there is a domestic market which can absorb whenever there is overproduction, that will stabilize the prices, even if it's not remunerative prices, but at least we will not make losses, because it's a perishable product, like particularly it is inside the water, so it's not difficult for us to hold it underwater. And then unlike chicken, you can't hold it as birds also. You'll have to feed them, hold them, diseases will attack, and then the holding thing itself is like chilled or frozen, and that also is costly. So we need to figure out a way to push this into the domestic market. And so how do we plan to do this? We plan to do a seamless distribution network to push huge volumes across the country, set up farmer organizations, like almost like a Amul sort of a thing we are hoping to create. And every farmer organization aspires to be an Amul, right? So we also hope to be an Amul sometime in future. So that's the mathematics. 100 tons of shrimp per day is the plan. So that should take at about 30,000 tons per annum. 10 companies doing it. Eventually we will reach that time. But how much time will it take? What are all the processes we should go through? Is direct farmer supply. Somebody was mentioning how to cut costs. You have to take it from the farmer to the consumer with minimal wastage in between. So that is the plan to do direct to ensure that the goodness of the shrimp. I mean, I can honestly telling you, the shrimp that you eat in a farm is nothing like, rather what you eat in the market is nothing like what actually is produced in the farm. There's so much of a difference. The loss of the goodness, the taste, the freshness, everything is so much by the time it reaches the domestic market. If you eat the real shrimp, which is in a farmer, you probably will not buy what's happening. That is the kind of thing we see. Again, if you go to Thailand, you don't mind ordering shrimp and eating, but in India, you're always skeptical about it. So we want to break that. We want to ensure that all you deserving consumers get the goodness of the shrimp. This would bring in tremendous investment. So if people are investors are here, you're most welcome to get in touch with us to extract, make good use of this opportunity. We should have experience centers like what Narendra again was talking about. Here you will come to, you can eat. Many problem is, where do we buy? How do we cook? What to cook? Shrimp actually is the easiest thing among all protein. No, 3 minutes. If you beyond 3 minutes, you'll overcook it. It won't taste good. So it just in 3 minutes you can put together a fantastic dish, which is so nutritious, so tasty. But yet people are very skeptical. How do I buy it? Where do I buy it? Things like that. So shrimp experience centers, which we propose, will give you everything. You can come, eat, enjoy, buy, and take home and also do it. So what are the product types we are planning? In fact, you will be surprised. Shrimp from Thailand is being transported live to China. Okay, a lot of things transported live. So what's the big deal? It's being transported live without water. That's a technology that they have moved into. So we have spoken to those people. We have visited those facilities. It's not such a great deal. So we are tying up with them to transport live shrimp without water to our retail stores and then revive them in water and sell it to the consumer. So because once you see a live animal, then you're completely confident about the quality of the shrimp. So these are all the things, because we still are in a country where we want to see what we are buying, the whole shrimp live and stuff like that. So yes. We'll also have freeze-dried. Freeze-dried shrimp is another fantastic product. The whole shrimp is just freeze-dried, and when you want to use it, you just put it in hot water, it comes back to life. It's as beautiful as that. So that is another product waiting to technical, it's all technical, everything is done, so we are planning to launch that also. So that is what the whole, about retailing, what the Farmers Federation is planning to do. And yes, thank you for your attention, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bala. I think it was a very good presentation, and 2 years back, CLFMA had invited Manoj Sharma as a speaker, and Manoj is doing fantastic job. He has opened Jingalala restaurant, and I think we Indians should eat more shrimp and more fish in a better way, and I think we look forward to have more restaurants like that, and thank you very much. Before we have 10-15 minutes, before I open the dais for discussion, I would like to ask Nikhil to speak about how you differentiate Chitre, because customer has so many choices today.
Yeah. So, city like Pune or Mumbai, there are around 56 to 60 brands that sell milk, and milk is a everyday consumable. So the biggest hurdle or the biggest factor that we have to think of is the supply chain. Cows and buffaloes don't take holidays, so we don't take holidays. It's a 365 days of business, and we have to make sure that the supply chain, the cold chain, is maintained proper every single day, all 24 hours. Because I think last 85 years, only 2 days we have missed sending milk to Pune, but we have still had to procure. One was the COVID's first day, where the demand dropped and we had to convert it into milk powder and butter. And one was when Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray passed away, when there was a bandh in Maharashtra. But these were the only 2 days. So the trust factor has to be built with the consumers. So even if you miss a couple of days of sending milk, to their doorstep, consumer's doorstep, then the trust factor is gone. So one thing is to build that trust factor with the consumers. Second thing is to build that same trust factor with your stakeholders. I think milk supply chain or any perishable commodity, I think your channel partners are your one of the most important factors in the supply chain. So all your distributors, their facilities for them. So recently we gave around 50 insulated vehicles to all our channel partners so that the temperature of the milk is kept properly. And then the other factor was to come up with value addition products. So value added products are important, so is milk. So if you take a look at the larger player like Amul, their model is also very similar. 60-70% of their milk is consumed as milk, because then there is a turnaround, the churning of money is quicker. And that is what is required for a milk business. So you can't give a lot of credit in the market because you're supposed to pay farmers at their timeline. So milk is sold as milk is beneficial for dairies. I see a lot of new and up and coming dairies in the market who are doing D2C. D2C is direct to consumer. So these models are great from consumer perspective, but these are a lot of cash burn operations. So to earn a rupee, you have to burn a rupee and a half, which is not exactly what we follow. We like to enhance our existing supply chain. We like to digitize these mom and pop small shops that sell our milk. We have a network of around 2.5 lakh shops across Maharashtra. And the next phase will be to try to digitize all of them. Because if they go out of business, the business will go into the hands of larger players, which will control the market and which will tell the consumers which brands to buy. For example, there are a lot of e-commerce brands that are in the market which are large players. So if you're not present on their first page, and to be on their first page is a lot of cost. And if you're on the second or the third or the fourth page of your product is on their fourth page, then consumers are not going to go browse and go on to the next page. So it's good to build your own supply chain, good to rely on channel partners and build that trust with your consumers as well as your channel partners. And your product quality matters a lot. Like India, if anybody fails in sensory, the product fails. Like there will not be ever a repeat consumer for your product. So sensory matters a lot. You need to figure out your demographics. You need to figure out your audience and build products according to that. So product like Shrikhand may not work in the south, but broken curd may work in the south. So you have to figure out what the target audience is, what they want, and then according to provide that kind of a product. So those are the things that are important.
Thanks, Nikhil. Means we buy chitle milk at home. It comes home delivery, and if sometimes that person doesn't have chitle, he tried to offer us another brand. My wife says, no, I'll wait for next day. So that tells us how strong this brand is. So now it's open for discussion. If there are any questions from audience to these three young entrepreneurs, you want to add something?
Just a thought. I was listening to Bala talk about the industry wanting to, increase consumption, local consumption. I've seen this conversation happen in silos. Okay, I've heard the fisheries department talking about doing, fish mela, and then they fund small fish mobile counters. Just a thought, and just putting out there. This siloed thinking is actually not getting us anywhere, right? Because unless you have a very focused approach to the consumer, I don't see anything changing. Okay. Looking at the demographics of the consumer, looking at the consumer's need, and going after the right channel with the right marketing support is what a campaign needs. For example, while you are thinking, our biggest problem today is we sell about 25 tons of fish, both freshwater and sea caught as well as shrimp. The biggest problem is the supply chain. Okay, we have access to, I mean, in the 8 years of us operating, we have a database of close to 2 million consumers, and our repeat rates are closer to 87%, right? And we are also profitable, by the way. We are not like a burning startup, right? So I was just running through some numbers. Licious actually spent 2,300 crores in the last 8 years to generate a revenue, cumulative revenue of 2,200 crores. Okay? Now, in our case, we have done 150 crores of investment with no external capital to generate a revenue of around 455 crores. So, now, if we have to go do this, these partnerships are very important. I keep talking to a lot of farmers who call me and suddenly the fish price is direct to consumer price. They don't make room for us, right? But when they're dealing with the trader, they're willing to go sell a, production cost plus 5%. Why is there this disparity? It's a big challenge. Now, just to actually suggest something, what I was thinking is we are more than happy to work with the association. The biggest concern for us is the supply chain is broken. The quality of material that I'm selling to the end consumer is actually not that great.
Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to fish and shrimp, especially, right? Everybody says 12 hours we are there. It's all a lie. It never happens, right? I've gone to the landing centers. I know when the trawlers come in, how long the fish has been in the sea, in ice, etc. But the consumer is actually being misled, right? Now, if we were to collaborate, I would like to make this offer to you guys. 45 outlets, we'll back you up with marketing support. We'll launch a prawn mela. I'll open up all of my 45 outlets for you to do the trials. We'll develop value-added products. Let's get those customers to trial,
Okay.
right? On a Sunday, for example, I have more than 15,000 customers visiting our 45 outlets, right? So that's what I thought I would want to share. This collaboration is very important because consumer deserves better.
Yeah, consumer definitely deserves better, no doubt about it.
Just a thought. Yeah. I just want to lay it out there.
Thanks, Naren, for the offer. I mean, I don't think I should answer it. You've already given the suggestion, so we'll take you up on that. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, please. माइक को ऊपर पकड़िए हाँ थोड़ा सा
Lot of whisper is in the market regarding synthetic milk, adulterated milk.
Yeah.
But as a very good milk marketing company, do you have any initiative which customer can differentiate between the two?
That question always pops up, and to be very honest, like dairy industry has been very demure in their communication. Like our approach has always been in the past, बोलने दो होता है चलता है दूध तो बिकेगा. It's always been like that. But similar to what the egg industry did, Sunday ho ya Monday रोज खाओ अंडे, campaigns such as that, we have an association, the Dairy Association. We have been actually planning to come up with campaigns regarding the dairy industry, because every time there is a festive season, all these news start popping up. So Diwali, the khoya adulteration news, they start to pop up. And if you see dairy industry overall, the adulteration happens at the consumer end. It does very little, it happens at the farmer end. So right now, if you see Western Maharashtra, we have a lot of players that collect buffalo and cow milk separately. And we are one of the very few regions in the country that do buffalo and cow separately. And our supply chains are very, very strong. I mean, we have a surplus of milk right now. So to be able to do that, I think the dairy industry need to be more transparent with the consumers so that the adulteration becomes the worry evaporates, because our dairy industry is never good at communicating. No, you won't find any dairy brand that comes out and talks about what they have been doing to target that or target audience, how to tackle that. So we need to be a bit more transparent when it comes to communication with the audience, and we need to be a bit more transparent when it comes to the sourcing of milk as well. Once the consumers build, so we have been putting out some media out there where we talk about how we source milk, what genetics we use, what kind of practices we use, what kind of practices farmers should use. And we have about 35,000 farmers that are connected with us, and their second generation, their fourth generation is also coming into the business. They see value in it, and we have been, so anybody that wants to start a dairy business, they need to come up with best practices possible to procure milk. Sourcing matters a lot when it comes to dairy, and after sourcing, your processing matters a lot, because then it's a perishable commodity, so processing, you have to figure out how to do it. And then the downstream supply chain. And that needs to be most important, because if somebody, once you send the milk out to the market, if somebody tries to be a bit more mischievous, I would say, with the milk product, I think you need to be able to tackle that. And fortunately, our consumers have been very much aware. If you see city like Pune, consumers are very much aware, Mumbai, Delhi, and they actually are our well-wishers. They give us a feedback if something goes wrong. So that, like I said earlier, you need to build that trust with the consumers, so that the consumers are your propagators.
Balaji, today mutton is more costlier than prawns.
Sorry?
Mutton is costlier
Yes.
than prawns, and if anybody wants to buy from Licious, the cost is so high that he cannot buy regularly. So any initiative by the Shrimp Producer Association to have a band pricing,
For
Licious and this type of brands?
yes, again to answer Narendra's question also, the issue for us we face is the consistency in sizes. Like like I said, shrimp, the higher the shrimp, and it keeps on growing, right? And farmers will want to keep, from the industry, farmers will want to keep it for a longer time. So they want the exact sizes and the smaller volumes. So that transportation cost is making it higher. So these are all the inconsistencies. But now since he has offered that straight away, this we will work. We have been talking with Reliance when they launched in 2008. When they launched, I had a meeting with them, and then Licious also we had a meeting. But the volumes are very less. But your volumes seem definitely doable. So to be, I think you are from Bangalore, so you might remember 2009 we launched the first QSR for prawns. It's called Pronto. It was on Mosque Road. So that time also the problem which we faced was the volumes, which moving the volumes and all those things. So to answer your question, shrimp is expensive. It's not a cheap by any chance. It is a premium product even for the Westerners. Even I was in the Global Shrimp Forum meeting in Netherlands. They did not serve shrimp because it's too expensive. Somebody had to sponsor it. One of the companies sponsored, and that's when they served the shrimp. So it's still up there. It will take time for us to trickle. And it's also a habit. Mutton is, people have been eating it for a very long time. Chicken also. So to break the price barrier and to make it available, of course, we realize we can't depend on the traders to do it, because they are for adulteration and stuff like that. So we thought the farmers will do it, and eventually we have to find a way. We can't keep on talking, yes, we will do. But now that we have an offer, we will, serious offer, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Before we take that question, the comment is, the funny thing is, we are always running out of shrimp.
You're all running out of shrimp?
Yes. One of the most sold out items for us, where I lose a lot of sale, is shrimp. I can't get enough of it. I don't know where to source it, because I'm just putting it out there.
You got the source.
Yeah.
Last question, yeah.
Sir, I am from Indore. I have a question for Mr. Chitwe. You must have seen the controversy of this Triputhu Laddu in the last 3 days. How it will affect the sale of the ghee? Whether people will move to ghee to refined oil, or how, and what is the planning to combat this type of situation? Thank you.
Our milk forum is actually has been discussing this question for the last three days since the news has come out. An institution such as big as the temple and the adulteration happening at their end and at the sourcing end. So our industry needs to come together at this time to be able to figure out, see, ghee, when an industry makes ghee, I get these questions like why some ghees are cheaper versus some ghee in the market is more expensive. So at an industrial scale, if you're making ghee, you're taking the butter out, you're taking the skim milk out, and you make ghee out of butter and you use skim milk as skim milk powder. So these are the two commodities that we make from milk when we are making ghee or any other product. So there are a lot of laboratory equipments that can give you a spectrum. For example, lab equipment like Thermo Fisher, they have a GC, gas chromatography, and we can use that to be able to do that. So while sourcing milk, what we do at our end is to sample each milk, create ghee out of each sample, and see the spectrum of lipids on the GC to be able to figure out if it's actual ghee or if there is any adulteration. There are equipments like FOSS, which can give you 18 types of adulterants at the source itself. And once you do all these things for each and every sample received at the dairy end, then you can guarantee, you can give the guarantee to the consumer that our ghee is non-adulterated. Right now, it's a big crisis. For example, like there was a recent controversy with McDonald's where they were using analog, but they were calling it cheese in Maharashtra. And the dairy industry actually fought against it, because if you're using vegetable fats in milk products, you shouldn't call it cheese. You can call it anything else you want, but you can't use a milk derivative name for such products. So McDonald's actually had to change their recipe, change their nomenclature. They, instead of calling the nuggets cheese nuggets, they started calling it vegetable nuggets. And these are the kind of things that consumer, as a representative or a representative of a dairy industry, we need to make consumers aware of these factors. If paneer, for example, so a lot of people in the market are selling paneer, they're calling it analog cheese, basically cottage cheese, and they're selling paneer at a very, very cheap rate. So if, for example, if you go to a restaurant, you should ask the restaurateur or the chef there if they're using analog or if they're using paneer. Because if it's very, very cheap, you need to be alarmed, and we need to make consumers aware of it. So in Maharashtra, we are running a campaign where restaurants are actually using different dairy brands and different dairy brands boards to make sure that the consumers are aware that this is the paneer that they're using for their any vegetable or any sabzi that they're making. So these are the kind of communications that we need to make from the dairy industry's perspective, make consumers aware of what goes in and what comes out, and make sure the consumers are more factually equipped when it comes to the dairy industry.
Can we take last question from Naveen and then close? Okay.
Naveen. So Bala, I have a question. Now, Indian consumer is extremely price sensitive, and your shrimp is a great product.
Yeah.
It's prohibitively expensive to consume it on a daily basis or maybe once or twice a week. How do you bring the price down, make it affordable to trigger the consumption? Your thoughts on that?
See, already we are complaining that the prices are low and we are losing money. So we definitely are not going to be able to bring it down. I mean, The fact is, it is an expensive product. We have to start from thinking that it is an expensive product. It is an aspirational product. And that is why when you eat shrimp, you want to take a selfie with it. When you eat chicken, you never take a selfie with it, right? So it is an expensive product. But then,
I'm not happy with that. But it's okay. I'm okay with that.
yes,
Well, if
Yes,
shrimp is
volumes.
expensive for Naveen, for us, other, I don't know. Yeah, imagine.
that is the,
I think
handling cost, the retailing cost and all those things. That is why the partnership between from the farmer to you, we can cut out all the other costs. We need to work out the volumes and stuff. That's the only way we will ever be able to. And in my presentation, you would have seen. I mean, you're doing the good work for us, so we can cut out all the, just start supplying to you, and we can definitely pass on the best value to the consumer. I'm only saying best. It can never be cheap, and I don't want it to be cheap.
I don't want to use the word cheap. I don't want to use that. I think value for money is what.
Value for money for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Otherwise, the farmer will lose. I mean, I
Sure,
can ask Nikhil to give me milk for 10 rupees, right? I mean, it's not possible for it. It has to be 50 rupees for a reason.
I totally understand. But just to trigger the consumption.
Absolutely. We'll look at correct sizes.
Once they get hooked onto it, and then India is very. I mean, if they launch a 150 kilometer for 1 liter of petrol, everybody buys that bike.
Yeah.
Right? So it's extremely price sensitive, India is. So that I want to see consumption go up. Right? But I'm trying to see how we trigger
Definitely.
that.
We can look
That's
at the sizes. There are many sizes. Indian pallets are very good for smaller sizes. Those are still not so expensive. So we should look at and cut out the middle.
I always
handling.
tell, though we are in the chicken business, king of meats is seafood.
Yeah.
King of meats is seafood.
Thank you for that.
I totally
And the best part is Naren saying that's the first thing which is getting sold out also. So people are not moving away. It's just a lack of supply. So we'll plug the gap. Thank you.
My last question to Mr. Chitale. What are the check and balances when you are procuring milk from the farmers? So far as I know, Nestle having most stringent check and balances. Especially they even check aflatoxin also. So what are your procedure? Just want to know.
See, there are at least 2 to 3 stakeholders when you get milk to the the processing facility. So I'll tell you what we do. We have given, so these are fat analyzers and solid non-fat. So milk has 2 components, fats and solid non-fats. So to be able to do that, first, so we purchase these both components. So other than that, we shouldn't be able to purchase anything else. When we purchase fats, we purchase milk fat. So to be able to check milk fats, we have the GC that we make sure that we purchase milk fats. To be able to purchase solid non-fats, which are proteins, the calciums, the minerals and everything else. At the farmer level, when let's say he gets the milk from the udder and he brings it to a chilling center, what we call it. So at the chilling center level, we analyze the fats and solid non-fats, and we analyze 5 adulterants. The basic adulterants that can, the adulteration that can take place at the farmer level. Then after chilling, because it's a perishable commodity, we chill the milk, we bring it to the processing facility. At the processing facility, we have an equipment where we do fats, SNFs, and 18 adulterants. So these are the very commonplace adulterants that we check for. Then there is a lipid profile that we have to check for, which can happen at the chromatography end. Then after that, the milk goes out in the market. If we find anybody that is misbehaving with our supply chain, then we red flag it. We blacklist that supplier, and we make sure that every other dairy in our region knows who that supplier is. So nobody can procure milk from that person. So these are the kind of, so like he said, we need the unity when it comes to procurement. And only after that we will be able to procure safe milk. And unfortunately, India hasn't launched any campaign when it comes to safe milk. In the US, you must have seen there was a campaign called Got Milk, and the milk sales haven't dropped after that. So something like that, more awareness campaigns for the farmer as well. See, adulteration will happen if the yield is lower. So if the yield goes up per animal, per cattle, then the farmer wouldn't think of it. We need to make wealth at the rural level so that there won't be any adulteration at the rural level. So currently the average yield per cattle in India is around 5 to 6 liters, if I'm not mistaken, doctor. It needs to go up. In the Western world, it's about 15 to 20 liters, average yield. So if it goes up, why would anybody adulterate? We'll have a surplus of milk. And that is what we need to do. We need to work on better genetics. We need to work on better feed. So it's like you have the better genetics, you have a better car. Now you need a good source of fuel for it. You can't have a Ferrari and give it kerosene and run it. So once you have a better genetics, you need better feed, and that's the only way the supply chain will work better. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil, and over to Dr. Huda.
Thanks, Dr. Dinesh, and thanks to all the panelists. Very exciting discussion. I wish we could have taken more questions, but maybe during the lunch we'll take that. Before that, I'll request Mr. Suresh Devra, our chairman, to come and felicitate Dr. Dinesh Bhosle, the moderator for the panel.